We've all heard of the Industrial Revolution, the steaming pumping from trains, the churning factories, and bustling city streets unrecognizable compared to the century before. In a few short decades, humanity went from being constrained by the power of its shoulders and the strength of the ox to being able to harness a nigh unfathomable source of energy. It wasn't the last revolution of industry. In fact, there's been 3 industrial revolutions. The first was of steam, the second of steel, and the third, digital, heralding the new information age. It was a transformation unparalleled in human history, and indeed, quite possibly, the whole cosmos. Now, another is brewing. It will make the others look like a mere dress rehearsal. The next industrial revolution promises to do for our brains what the first revolution did for our brawn. Christened the 4th Industrial Revolution, it will use artificial intelligence, or AI, to create an increasingly automated and interconnected world. These trends will converge towards this singular era-defined metamorphosis, covering topics as broad as gene editing, advanced robotics, 3D printing, and vertical framing. Join us as we venture into the coming decades and investigate how the rise of AI will change humanity forever.
The world is evolving faster than we know it. Advancements in technology, innovation, society, and our environment have enabled us to develop and evolve at a rate faster than anything the human race has ever seen before. Now, with the rise of artificial intelligence, robotics, and autonomous devices, we're able to create machinery and technology that can learn, evolve, and even service itself, which essentially propels even more rapid evolution. AI is all around us, developing at a rate faster than we can imagine. Listening, hearing, seeing, learning, and soon it could overtake us. So what does the future have in store?
So imagine if you had smart devices in your home, your car, your workplace, or even on yourself. The world becomes alive. That's Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is making everyday objects into data factories. When Internet of Things, along with big data, meets artificial intelligence, this interface will become enlivened with intelligence, and a new world will take birth, which will increasingly talk back to us. Imagine the kind of world that it would be. Imagine the revolution it will usher in the way we see the world. The external world will become the extension of our mind, like an extension of our thoughts. Imagine a world that is responsive, a world that is optimized for human creativity, a world that is intelligent. The Internet of Things is a breeding ground for new AI-driven solutions and experiences, from self-driving cars to intelligent homes to health. Welcome to the world of endless possibilities.
This is a great webinar. I am Tejal, Customer Service Director at Centriqe, based in US, and I am proud to be part of the Centriqe team working at the forefront implementing AI in this business worldwide. And I'm so happy we are all gathered here together. So our mission is to enable leading enterprises with automation and AI that enhances the customer engagement and that experience to the next level. We should not take not longer than an hour of your valuable time, everybody who's here. And just a little humble request that everyone please save all your questions. We have the Q&A session at the end of the webinar, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. And if you're not speaking, please mute your phone so it doesn't disturb the speakers. I would like to point out that we are going to record this event, just so for your knowledge, and Centriqe team and our speakers will end over to answer all the questions that you may have or revert later at the end of the webinar. But we have a great lineup of speakers and can't wait to actually start this. So just for a brief introduction of the Centriqe, we are the advanced AI solutions. Here, as you can see, we are all global AI professionals working all together, a fraction of the cost, with the Accenture, PwC, Deloitte, and all of our processes are seamless. Like we work along with all the customers, all the collaborators, with their existing system infrastructure. It's seamless to anybody who works with this Centriqe system. And the main goal for us is discover gems in your data, right? Like we are doing the predictive and prescriptive intelligence at your fingertips. Everything you can do nowadays in this world, it's very, very quick. And so that's and very kind of to be on time, I'm going to try and start introducing the Centriqe business management team. The first one on the screen is Mr. Mark Santos. He's the Senior VP Business Growth, Alliance and Channels. He's a former senior executive of Oracle and Hazelcast with 20 plus years of experience managing sales and channels. So Mark, you can wave your hands hello to everybody here, can see you. The next on our team is Deepak Vishwanath. He's a VP of Customer Success. He's former senior executive of Oracle and Infosys with 25 plus years of experience in growing business and customer adoption globally. So Deepak, wave your hands and everybody can see Deepak here with our team. Moving forward to our next team member, Asfar Nazir. He's a business leader in UK. I already see your hand, Asfar, and he's a former Oracle and Citibank technology leader with 20 plus experience years implementing technology-based solution. And then, I just kind of want to show you what great team we have here. We are all together. The next on our team is Rajesh Mehta. Rajesh is a VP for business growth in UK and Europe. He's a former senior executive at Infosys and Capgemini with 25 plus years of experience in growing business and sales revenue globally. So this is, hey Rajesh, everybody can see waving head. And last but not the least, of course, our founder and CEO, Alak Verma, is here. He's former Oracle and Microsoft executive with, again, many, many years of experience, 25 plus in product development, management, business growth, sales, marketing. Very happy to introduce him. I'm very happy that everybody's here. So off to Alak for speaking some words and his presentation slides.
Thank you so much, Tejal, first of all, for a warm welcome and introduction to all of our management team leaders, and a warm welcome to all our guest speakers. And the keynote speaker couldn't be happier than today, and it's a historic day in the calendar of Centriqe. And we are a young, agile, nimble company, but we have a very robust team. And I personally believe that people make the difference, and that's where we are. And I will talk very little about where we are heading towards and how we are going to make the difference across the industry. So thriving in the challenging economy, that's the key topic as we are going to talk about. And as you all see, that data information is the key for decisions. And as I was referring to some of the published journal, I always mention about that 84% of S&P 500 market value is in intangible assets. Very difficult to touch and feel and prove it. Now, 430 billion advantage to those who analyze all data and deliver actionable insights for the right decision before any disaster take place. So economy downturn, slowdown is all the effect of that when we don't preempt and predict the future, how that looks like. And AI will automate many mundane tasks, like ChatGPT is a great example in the recent months. for the profitability. So these are few of those journals published recently, and you can see that our age of analytics is coming into fruition. Then we are talking about the world's most valuable resource is data and the new rules of the competition. Geoffrey Moore would be talking highly about it, I'm sure, because I have been the avid follower of his philosophy. And last but not least, last week, the economic potential of generative AI, what McKinsey has talked about. And they talk about very, very clearly that 4 business functions will account for 75% of the total annual value for generative AI. Customer operations, marketing and sales, software engineering, and research and development. So these are the business areas the business leaders should be looking at how the AI will impact. And this impact will be seen very quickly as we are rolling out the whole business transformation. Now, as I always mention about the Centriqe vision and the growth plans, we are people-centric company. I personally very compassionate about people, and that revolves around our shareholder first, our investors who are trusting us to take the ship forward, our customer who I treat them as God, because I personally believe that customer I worship and support them 24/7. And then my partners who are enabling me to succeed in my venture, in succeeding my efforts, which I do. So these are the things which I am creating values with all our team leaders who you have just met. And the philosophy behind this are all platform and solutions which we are talking about is to predict, prescribe, and help business leaders with information for taking decisions. All rest are details. How the system of applications records are getting transformed on cloud, how the data is getting generated, that what we do is get the data into your fingertip in form of information, in form of actionable decision by which you should be able to take your business forward. And winning trust together could not be better than what I'm looking at the whole ecosystem globally. So today I'm proud to announce how can I be closer, winning the trust of our customer across the globe. So we just announced the AI Data Hub with a NetServe in the heart of the Silicon Valley, which is our system integrator partner. And what they are talking about, they will facilitate their premises, their entire facility with the data center to enable the solution of AI, which can be seen, which can be visualized, which can be demonstrated with the complete showcase of solutions. So blending and winning trust of system integrated partners globally with AI Data Hub initiative, showcasing solutions with industry use cases, data models, and process automation. Now, this initiative is really creating a lot of ripples in the market. Across the globe, people, system integrators are coming forward, joining hands with us. And today I have NetServe right in the Silicon Valley in the premises. So customer can walk in, partners can come in, all the system engineers, data analysts, they will work with us to work better, closer at the customer hub. With this, I hand over to Laurie to address and talk about what she has experienced.
And I just want to say, Laurie Nicole Nord she's a founder and president for Stimulation Skincare in US, and a great a strategic thinker, dedicated leader with a proven record for delivering results. So Laurie, we are very happy to have you here, and microphone to you.
Am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
We can hear you good.
Well, good
Yes,
morning,
we can
everyone.
hear you, Laurie. Yep, we can.
Thank you for having me. What an esteemed panel. I feel inadequate with all the titles and experience here. But for sure, the one thing I can tell you is that I've been a serial entrepreneur my whole life. So thinking outside the box has always been my success. Back when I was in sales, that's how I made a difference to my customers, as I took a different channel. And the introduction of AI has been very helpful to us, especially when the market has been in its downturn and you still need to grow, but at the same time, the resources are somewhat limited as to how we can compete in the job market. So depending upon AI to really automate a lot of those processes has really helped us. Of course, we all know the top 5 of AI and chat uses of, customer support, personalized shopping experience, inventory management, price optimization, and critical, and thanks to Centriqe's help, is data analytics and insight. For us, our experience with utilizing chat and AI, with particularly ChatGPT, is that we really have used that to accelerate our resources and our research. So it's helped us a lot in investigating products, investigating ingredients, helped with writing text and body content. But what I do one thing that I have to take a step back is that I have had to make sure that our team really does its research and go back through what chat offers, because sometimes they're not 100% correct. So I will leave that to our keynote speaker to address. But the human aspect of this is still very, very critical. What it has done for us really has ultimately optimized time. And we all know that time is really one of the most critical aspects in running our business, is the best use of that. And so for us, those elements have really been very helpful in expanding our business through a down economy. Outsourcing and being able to reduce and automate some of our tasks that were manual in the past is what's helped us to weather this storm. And that's kind of where we're at. I don't know if Tejal or Alec, if you have more questions.
Thank you so much, Laurie, indeed, for very fruitful insight here.
No, thank you, Laurie. This was very, very helpful. Good. And we are actually right on time as well. So if I ask some people to shorten, they can longer their speech as well. So we are right on time. So other speakers have some more time as well. The next guest speaker is Dr. Piyush Sinha. He's the. Do we have him here today?
Yeah. He is,
okay, great. So I didn't see him on the, some of the panels that I see, but he's the chairman of Par Empire, a general trading company, and hello, Piyushji, in Dubai. And he's the director of CRI advisory, former professor for IIM Ahmedabad in India. Very, very knowledgeable, and very happy to introduce him. Piyushji, floor is yours.
Very good evening to everyone from Dubai. I'm currently living in Rwanda in Africa, but for some reason I'm here. I'm actually some meeting with Par Empire, the company itself. So I'm here. So it's little straight out of work. And we were discussing Centriqe only as to how we can make most out of Centriqe in Par Empire. For me, it's a paradox. I am a champion of human touch. And now we are talking of AI, how ChatGPT and AI is to be implemented. So for me, it's a fine balance that I'm looking at, if you ask me frankly, right? And which is what we have been right from day one. Alak, and everybody, we've been saying that how do we create a high touch and high tech offer? That's something which is there, right? So I'm not taking away the human intervention at all, especially in a B2B environment where this company that I'm involved in, and other situations, even the retail company which Centriqe is working with in India, which is, although it's a B2C company, but for us it is B2B. And this company in Dubai is a trading company. So our customers are large retailers, distributors, not just in Dubai, but also in Africa and in other parts of the Middle East as well as India. Everybody says, a B2B decision making, final decision making happens in one-to-one, because you have to do negotiations, right? My experience of working in the online environment and using technology is that repeat purchases do happen without the intervention of the person. If we have been able to create good connect, and the classic example is the EDI exchange between Walmart and P&G. That's a celebrated integration that everybody talks about, that everything happens without human intervention. Complete replenishment, complete order management, stock management, everything happens through the EDI exchange, which means technology is making everything happen. But when it comes to interfacing with the customers, or for that matter with the suppliers, in a B2B situation, technology can do a bit, but only to a certain extent. After that, it becomes an enabler. So I mean, the way I'm looking at the roles of technology as a provider, doer, and enabler kind of a thing, right? So in a B2B situation, what we are finding is that it can be a very good enabler, and in some cases, it can actually do things through automation, right? That's what we are trying to implement at Parampire here, as to how do we, and that's why I started with saying that my customers are buyers in large retail outlets, large wholesale companies, right, who would like to see you. Without that, they don't take decisions. As simple as that. Whether me or my salesperson has to visit, right? So the role I'm seeing the Centriqe is going to play with whatever. I mean, Alak understand technology better than me. Whatever we're trying to do with in this situation is, how can we create or empower my sales team, or empower my buyer to talk to the suppliers using technology and data, right? And therefore create such kind of communication or kind of platforms where the discussions can happen at a much evolved level using data and technology. And if I can integrate with their systems, which is what we are trying with some of the customers, then I actually become a technology-enabled company using AI and other latest technology that we have, right? So that's what I'm trying here, and then we are seeing that. I mean, I'm so happy to be part of Centriqe, because we have been experimenting things, and for whatever reason, I would not take the credit. We have been successful in doing many things, right? So I'm very positive over it. In fact, last week only I was talking to Alak as to how do we go to the next level kind of a thing, right? And I'm so glad, and the team is so dedicated and so focused on consumers, solve the customer's problem. So I would not call Centriqe as a tech company at all. Yet we are tech-enabled, customer-centric companies. Not just the name, but the way we do. And that is what my pet thing has been right through my career, whether as a professor or as a consultant or as a practitioner when I used to work with some companies. And it fits right there. I wish I had this thing 20 years ago with me, 25 years ago, when I was heading a company which was so customer-centric, but we didn't have the kind of technology that we have today. I used to send manual postcards to my customers and wait for the postman to bring the it was prepaid postcard that used to send to customers for their feedback. Right. From there we have moved a lot, and I'm glad to be part of this. And I can see the impact very clearly in whatever we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It means a lot as a customer as you're speaking. So we are so proud for your endorsement and support. Thank you so much. Tejal, over to you.
Thank you, Piyushi. And our next guest speaker is Rishikesh Bhatt. He's a group CIO of Eros Electronics Group, again based in Dubai, and a great agile senior IT professional, leveraging technology transformation to connect business vision and shareholder value proposition together. And great to have you, Rishikesh. Very happy to introduce you, and floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, and I'm happy to be part of this esteemed panel. Hearing Alak and Piyush, whom we have all met very closely, and we have been discussing a lot of things. So my presentation or my talks more or less summarizes what both of these gentlemen have said. But before that, I'll just take you through what Eros Group is. Eros is into the business of consumer electronics. So we have 15 plus retail outlets, plus we are into the business of distribution. So we do both B2B and B2C channel. Plus so you can see that we have a huge operations in terms of the logistics, in terms of the retail and the fleet and everything. So we have been, discussing with Centriqe on a lot of areas on how to move forward. Certain things are already we are using, like the bots and everything, okay, for our e-commerce websites. But yes, there is a lot to be done. So let me start from a macro level, which says that we in today's times, we are a digitally connected community. All the entire society is more or less connected. And there are all these data pieces which are flowing around, but yet to be put in a structured manner. If with the help of AI, if this can be leveraged, it will be really good. So when with AI, okay, and it, as Piyush said, it can always be an enabler for a business like B2B and B2C. Okay, what we expect and how do we want to utilize is in our retail value chain. How do we envisage this entire thing? So today there are new forms of collaborations, as Piyush had mentioned, that you have EDI interfaces and everything. So it is actually blurring the lines between industries. It is blurring the lines between your internal processes, be it logistics, be it your retail operations, and be your customer touch points. Plus you also depend on your manufacturers to supply you at the right time. So with the help of AI, and if all of these pieces can be integrated, I see a lot of benefits which will come in terms of having a stronger P&L with a lesser turnaround time in terms of deliverables. I will have to invest lesser in my infrastructure if I have the right information with me. And with the help of that, okay, I will always be able to satisfy my end customers with a better experience online, or whether it is in store or with omni-channel aspects as well. So all of these will, the idea of this is only to ensure that we have some information which is absolutely real time, which can be utilized to have more personalized prepositions for the customer, and we can have a very personalized touch with the customer. So with AI, okay, yes, we want to have technology as an enabler, but at the same time, yes, we will have the human touch alive as well. So it works in both the ways. Recently, there were news from Apple about Vision Pro, okay, being launched. So just imagine with Vision Pro and spatial information and all of these aspects coming into picture, what is the amount of information that you can get from a consumer, and how you can leverage that. Okay, you can actually create digital stores, though this is available, but it's in a very nascent stage. But you can always create 3 digital stores where the customers can actually see the product range, which is probably not available in your physical stores, or what the customer today is seeing is only a 2D version on your online on your online channels. So this is where we would want to leverage technology and use AI as a medium to ensure that if you can go to the next slide, Tejal. So this is where we, before we end, okay, this is where we want to leverage technology in terms of 3 areas. Okay, it is how do you have an impactful customer recall, how this will help you in your financials, in your P&L, and how best you can optimize and utilize your resources to the best. With that, I will just leave you with the thought which Eros always has, that as we all are very curious about the future. So, curiosity is something which will lead the way. Okay, we had imagined all of these things maybe 20 years back, but today it is getting a reality. And there will be always newer ways of, having and doing business with the customers with the help of technology. So I leave you with that thought. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Rishikesh. This was great. We had 3 speakers so far. Great, amazing thoughts from Laurie, Piyushji, Rishikesh. Thank you very much for your speeches. It was great. And just to let you know, we are right on time. We are good. Nobody has to cut down any speeches. We are all good. So. And with all due respect, I introduced our keynote speaker, Mr. Jeffrey Moore. He is an amazing author, speaker, advisor, and best known for crossing the chasm and zone to win, the latest book being The Infinite Staircase. And so we are very happy to have him. He's a partner at the Wildcat Venture Partners, chairman for Emeritus Chasm Group and Chasm Institute. We're very, very, fortunate that he could spare this time with us, and he's our keynote speaker. We are halfway through. We heard from a great speaker so far. We will hear from the keynote speaker, and then we will have a couple more after that. So welcome, Jeffrey, and thank you for being here.
Artificial intelligence. We've been talking about artificial intelligence since I joined the industry 40 years ago, but it really does feel like it's now, and that there's a big wave right now. And my whole consulting experience has been around catching the next wave. So I thought I would just sort of share what that wave looks like from my perspective. And so if you think about how long, there's a lot of experience on the Centriqe team, and all of us have been through these major waves of technology innovation in our careers. Beginning with, my career started with what we call the systems of record. And that was the Oracle age. It was Microsoft, Oracle, Cisco. We focused enormously on SAP, focused on the ERP systems, the supply chain. We created a global supply chain. It was all about getting product to the global market. And that largely, I think, was an accomplished mission by the end of the first decade of this century. What was interesting, in the middle of that mission, a new mission emerged around what we ended up calling systems of engagement. It started with consumer computing around Facebook and Google and eBay and all these wonderful consumer apps. But it very rapidly became digital transformation took over everything. And all of a sudden, virtually everyone on the planet could be reached 24/7 through a mobile digital device and cloud computing, which completely caused us to re-engineer every customer-facing process, every supplier-facing process, every employee-facing process, because now all of a sudden the ability to take latency out of those cycles of communication to do closer and closer to real-time reaction to emerging needs was hugely transformative. And then an unintended consequence of that led to the third wave of adoption, which is all of those systems of engagement have public log files. In fact, the internet, if you think about the large language models that are driving ChatGPT, they're just treating the internet as a huge log file. And they're building predictive language models out of these huge log files. So this is an era where the data scientist is king and the AI and machine learning is coming to fruition. And ChatGPT, I think, was the first time where it just really hit everybody. Oh my goodness, this is much more powerful than I ever even imagined. So when that happens, you get a technology adoption life cycle, because the new paradigm says, you have to rethink everything from scratch. What is the human? As Rishikesh was talking about, what the digitally connected world, and Piyush was talking about the human element and the AI element, and Laurie the same thing, and Akash the same thing. It's like, look, this is a new way of working. How are we going to invent the new normal? And what the technology adoption life cycle tells you is, when these new paradigms hit, there's a wave of adoption, and it's led by different personas at different points in its history. So it starts with the technology enthusiast, and there are people like Stephen Wolfram who explain to you, how does ChatGPT actually work? Which is fascinating if you're a geek, and if you're not a geek, you don't care. But it's really, really interesting to me. But the really impactful stuff starts happening when a business leader, a visionary leader, says, I know it's early, I know most people are probably going to wait, but I'm not. I want to define the future. So I'm going to, not only just me personally, I'm going to take all of my company. I'm going to be like Elon Musk. I'm going to be like Jeff Bezos. I'm going to be like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Larry Ellison. I mean, all these incredible people who say, I'm going to bet early. That's a visionary play, and they go ahead of the herd, and they do a lot of extra work because the ecosystem isn't there yet. The pragmatists, most of the money and most of the resources in the world are controlled by pragmatists. And pragmatists say, look, I'm sure it's great, but we have businesses to run. We have other stuff to worry about. So we're not going to invent the future. But when the future arrives, we'd like to adopt it. And so what they're usually doing is they're talking to each other all the time saying, are you doing this yet? Are you doing this yet? And webinars like this very one is one of the communication mechanisms that pragmatic people use to say, okay, what is going on? Where are we with this thing? Because a pragmatist wants to do it when everybody else is doing it, but frankly, not before. That's their strategy. The conservatives are even further back. They're going, oh, please, we've had too much of this already. Could you just slow down? I mean, I'm sure it's good, but please just slow down. This is really, really hard for us. And you know, that whole thing about Walmart and Procter & Gamble and EDI, boy, let's get some more of that for a while before we do the next wave. And so the conservatives are always trying to kind of roll it a little more slowly. Eventually, they're going to do what the pragmatists do, but they're going to do it. They're going to try to delay it as long as they can. Maybe till after they retire even. And then there's the skeptics who just think we're going to fail. They say it's not going to work. And the point is, all 5 of those reactions are reasonable in different circumstances. So it's not like there's a good one and a bad one. But what is interesting is when you put them all together, and this is the last slide I have, which is how does this thing then lead to what we call the market development life cycle? And everybody on this webinar needs to be sensitive to this life cycle for their business and your adoption of technology, whether you're a vendor or a customer or a partner or an investor. And what this model says is that when any of these waves get adopted, they go through 4 stages, and each stage is very different from the stage that came before it. So the first stage we call the early market. And that's with the visionaries and the technology enthusiasts, both of whom are bought into the idea of the future. So they believe what the vendors believe, what the entrepreneurs believe, what the analysts believe. Yes, we see this, but there aren't that many of them, and there's no ecosystem yet. So the key to this thing at the early market is, can you get one or more truly visionary global brand recognition kinds of companies to buy in and show the world what good could look like? And this is a time when the market is organized around projects, because it's not yet, nothing is coalesced yet. So everything has to be invented for the first time. And companies like Centriqe and as well as their competitors that that we were showing on that first chart, all the systems integrators tend to have that ability to say, okay, we'll come in and help create early market outcomes. That said, early market outcomes by themselves would just be like movies. I mean, they would be like a great movie, but then now what? And that's what this chasm's about. The chasm's about the mainstream market saying, well, it sounds great. Elon Musk can go to space, but should I go to space? I mean, that seems a little bit of a stretch. So what they do is they hold back. The pragmatists are saying, we're going to wait and see. And this is a challenging time for any disruptive technology, because you need to get market acceptance on the right-hand side of that chasm. And so what we learned in this book called Crossing the Chasm was, while most pragmatists are going to wait, some pragmatists have use cases which are so challenging they can't solve them with today's technology, and they're under enormous pressure to find a solution. And so these are pragmatists who need what you have, and what the opportunity here is by reducing your scope of focus. But instead of trying to change the world, you're just looking at a couple of use cases in a couple of vertical markets. But they're challenging use cases that nobody else is handling very well. And so you build a business model around solutions. Now, these solutions are repeatable within that segment, within that use case, within that industry. So in other words, they're much more limited, what they call TAMs, total available markets, but they're much more actionable, because these customers are predisposed to try anything new because they need to get to some better place. So that's a solutions model. Very different from projects, because you want it to be repeatable, which means you only hunt within certain use cases and you only hunt within certain segments. Whereas in the early market, you would take a visionary from anywhere. And then if you get enough of these solutions going, so you had one bowling pin, two bowling pins, they start knocking over more. All of a sudden, the pragmatists go, well, wait a minute. This is the new normal. This is cloud computing. We all have to be in the cloud. We all have to have mobile devices. We all have to have, software as a service. So now that the customer is saying, instead of saying, now they'll be afraid of being left behind. So they say, it's not that we believe what you believe, and they're not even really saying we need what you have. What they're saying is we want what they have. And ChatGPT, I think, is right now probably in the tornado right now. So this is a time when everybody is going to put aside money, and for the first time, they're going to create budget for the sole purpose of buying into the new technology. Prior to this stage of the life cycle, there really wasn't any budget set aside for the new technology, but now there is. And so this is a time when the vendors want to capture market share and standard products that can be installed at scale over and over and over and over again and reused, and the ecosystem partners can learn the technologies and they can begin to be third-party selling and third-party support, so you can expand faster and faster and faster, because the tornado is all about capture the opportunity when it first hits. And that's a very, very aggressive time in the marketplace. Once people have actually done their first wave of purchasing, they're going to purchase for the next 2-3 decades. But now the market's moved to this fourth and final stage we call Main Street. And Main Street is largely run by people who want more of the same. So this conservative persona becomes increasingly important, particularly in a subscription model, where they're going to renew and not attrit and all that kind of stuff. And the conservatives saying, well, I'm not even sure we want what they have, but we need what they have. So let's work together. And this is an opportunity for vendors to kind of, we talk about land and expand. This is the expand time where you say, okay, more use cases, but it's no longer disruptive. Now we're trying to be sustaining. We're trying to be evolution, not revolution on Main Street. And this is a perfect time for the managed services model, and we've seen the managed services model, which in the 20th century was frankly cost centers. We didn't really care about managed services much in the 20th century, but in the 21st century, with everything as a service, software as a service, infrastructure as a service, service as a service, managed services is really the core of the global economy expanding. So it's a very, very big deal. Now, the point I just want to make, and I've got one last point to make, and I'm done. These 4 playbooks, each one of these playbooks is pretty well understood. There's a lot of experience with each of these 4 playbooks. The challenge is to make sure that your company and your team knows which playbook you're playing right now, because these playbooks are not compatible with each other. You don't want to mix playbooks. You want to pick a playbook and run it. And so the last thing I would just say is, to catch the next wave, you've got to run the right playbook for you. So Silicon Valley always wants to run the latest playbook as fast as possible, but the rest of the world is not Silicon Valley. So you have to think about, for my industry, for my company, for my culture, for my customers, for my ecosystem of partners, where are we with this AI disruptive innovation, and which of these models would produce the best results for us in the coming year? And with that, Tejal, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, thank you very much. And it was great to learn, and it was a great speech. So we move on to our next speaker. This was great. Before we move on, there is a question in the list, but we will wait. Somebody raised their hand, Rajesh. We will wait till the end of the session, and we will definitely be here to answer all the questions. Just wanted to let you know. So with that, Alexi, you can stop sharing, Jeffrey, and we can come back to our Centriqe slides.
Thank you. So I beg your pardon.
You can share the slide, please.
Yep, thank
Tejal,
you.
You can share the slide, please. Tejal, you can share the slide, please.
Sure. While that's coming up, I just wanted to say, introduced our next speaker, which is Joel Borlees. He's the Open AI consultant. He's a former senior executive of Oracle, AWS, Microsoft USA. So it's great to have him here, and with all the knowledge he brings. I introduce him, and he can go ahead while I'll bring the slides up.
Sure. So hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Thank you so
Yes.
much for having me. And
you can turn on your video, Joel, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, I don't mind. I don't mind at all. There you go.
Sure. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome, and thank you for bringing me into the Centriqe community and helping advise and work with you as you move forward. My discussion here or some comments I'll make are focused. I'd call maybe a little more technical, but probably more related to the direction of some of the large language models. So I've been focused over the last 2 years or so, starting back to early GPT. So not ChatGPT, but the models itself, and taking a look at these large language models and building applications on top of them and how they're sort of evolving. And Jeffrey kind of nailed it on that data piece, and I think that's the point that I want to make is these models, as you know, are they have a point in time where they know certain information. They were trained, as Jeffrey said, he's right, whether it was web crawler or Wikipedia, they were trained on the log files of the internet. But there's a certain point where they don't know information, and we've obviously probably some of you have run the fun test where you ask it, ChatGPT, for example, who won the 2023 US Open Golf Championship, and it will come back and say, as an AI, I just don't know that information. That's obviously because it wasn't trained on that information. It doesn't know that information. And so what I'm really excited about, I kind of want to just put in your heads here, is all of the sort of capabilities now that allow you to incorporate your corpus of information or your corporate data and information and use the power of these models after they've been trained to understand structure. They've been trained to understand to generate the next sentence. But including your data in that is what really starts to allow your applications to harness the power of what these models can do. And they're really starting to evolve to whether you use your own search engine and you feed that to the prompt. You'll see these plug-in models that have come about. Those are awesome, right? Those are a way to kind of incorporate whether it be a Bing search or Google search or even a quick search of Wikipedia for current information to help answer the questions or to provide an answer to a query that's coming in. OpenAI is going a little further. They just launched last week or in the last couple of weeks in their new models the capability of incorporating functions. So think of those as tools that the model can use to sort of understand what it needs to go out and search for based on the query, and that's exciting as well. But really, to sum it up, what I'm excited about is the ability to use your own information, your own corpus of data, and incorporate that into your large language model applications to allow for the power of the model to do its thing around structure and generative capabilities and your data. And it's so valuable now. We've been accumulating a lot of our financial data over the last couple of years. There's been a lot of advancement in the analytics tools to look at, say, financial data, but we also have so much unstructured data sitting around our companies, and that unstructured data is videos or PowerPoints or text documents or whatever. And I think about onboarding, you bring a new employee on and you have to teach them all about the company. Using technologies like LLM technologies and LLM applications is a really great way to use all of that information and provide a conversational way for whether it's your customer or your internal employees to interact with that data and talk with that data and really ask it questions. So exciting stuff, and happy to continue working with Centriqe here as all of this stuff evolves, and really cool to see the data hubs, the AI hubs. Look forward to actually physically visiting those at some point, but really interesting to see that. I'm excited. So back to you.
Yep. Thank you so much, Joel, and I'm so proud and privileged to have you in our advisory board. In fact, I'm so thrilled as you consented to join our technical advisory board, Joel. And I had pleasure working with you under Thomas Kurian organizations. I can't forget those days, and I seek always the inspiration, the guidance which you have, Joel. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. It means a lot to our team.
You're welcome. Very happy to be here.
Thank you. Over to you, Tejal.
Thank you, Joel. And our next guest speaker is Dominic Stewart. He's the Senior Director, Oracle UK, and manages the Oracle Technology Cloud Engineering Organization for financial services, retail, media, and gaming. And Dominic, very happy to have you. We do have your slides here, so let me know when you want to move to the next. But welcome, and floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. So we can go to the next slide. So firstly, thank you again, as the other panelists have said, for inviting us along to this session this afternoon in the UK anyway, and really happy to be here. So if we go to the next slide, the main kind of, if you like, line of sight that I bring from Oracle, and many of the panelists have mentioned their heritage in terms of Oracle, is the exam question was about profitability for many companies in an economic slowdown. And of course, the technology that we have in terms of AI and ML and all those sorts of things address two areas of profitability. It can provide a better service, so more revenue, or increased service, that expansion of revenue, but it can also reduce costs for looking at things like fraud and things like that. So it offers opportunity across the whole realm of the gross operating profit, if you like, of organizations. But the goal of Oracle really is to help achieve those goals, whatever they are. And when we look at AI and ML, which we've spoken about, the two things, our testimony and assertion actually, is that with better data, you get better insight. And so it's already been discussed about the data. Obviously, we have a very effective and well-known converged data repository that allows you to store your data types and then leverage it in a very effective manner. But in terms of delivering business insights to using AI and ML to businesses, there is both having the data that can help you with that insight, and there's also training. I think Joel mentioned the need to train your data, and if you train it well, it matches your business outcomes, and you're able to make better decisions. So they're the two areas, and obviously, firstly say not all clouds are the same. So Oracle is coming from that data background, and we have an engineered converged database, Excel, which you may have come across, which is a multi-node database. The important thing about it is it requires something called remote memory access, RDMA access, to work, and we have a dedicated network for that. Why is that important? Because it's only used for two things. It's obviously used for our backend database, it definitely is, but it's also used for our HPC and GPU direct memory access. That's important because people like NVIDIA look at that and go, crikey, I do want that. That gives us performance advantage. You'll have seen our announcements with Cohere, and again we have that advantage. Sorry, we've missed the slides. If you go forward a couple of slides, so there is both the data and the training in order to provide the best value to the business outcome. There's one other element I would put on, and that or mention in this forum, because I've run out of time, is that democratization of that technology. Make sure that it's accessible to most parts of the business. And in the last slide I've got, I see that we talk a little bit about all of the use cases that we could offer in the last slide, which is the next one. Yeah, so some of these look at reducing costs, fraud, for example, some of these other things, but a lot of them are to do with providing the best user experience and then obviously the best outcome in terms of businesses. So we from Oracle are looking at achieving business goals, applying the technology that we have based on data and also the elasticity of our cloud environment in terms of GPUs and accessing NVIDIA and with partners like Cohere to deliver that business outcome to our customers. And we're absolutely delighted to work with Centriqe to help that happen. Thank you. Thank you. And let me pass back to you.
No, thank you so much, Dominic. And Tejal, I'm sure you have some comments to make and before we wrap up. So please do, extend your thoughts, Tejal, before I come in.
Great. Thank you. And thank you, everybody. I really want to thank you, all the speakers here, everybody to be here at this time and express your thoughts. It will be so useful to the industry, to all of this technology people all are gathered here. So I appreciate everybody's time and thank you, everybody, for your thoughts and speaker times. I appreciate that. And we do have a few minutes for question and answers. So anybody who has questions for anyone here, please go ahead. And Alakji, if you want to say a few words before we wrap up as well.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much. So, first of all, I have taken some notes from the keynote speaker, Jeff, and he mentioned that paradigm shift during the current transition when we are thriving or when we are, really facing this challenging economy. So he was mentioning about crossing the chasm where pragmatists or the people who are testing the technology, how they can really embrace this for their survival and thriving. So AI is now coming to the mainstream. It has not been seen as a suspect or to wait and watch. Rather, it's being considered to be adopted now. Time is right now. So that is where we see that technology and the personal touch, as Pius mentioned about how do we handshake with technology, with personal touch. At Centriqe, I am so compassionate about bringing people across the globe to embrace the technology, because only technology is going to be enabling to survive and thrive in our economy. We are all facing this and we are all together in fighting this battle. So with that notes, I will really urge and request all our ecosystem, the partners who are working with us, to come together to solve this puzzle. Joel is extending hands to help us to bring in those latest and greatest on OpenAI, the codes, the model which is available for our consumption. We should be able to use it, consume it, integrate it with our Profit Edge platform. And now Profit Edge in the context of your framework, which will enable to run your business more effectively. Likes of improving your revenue, maximizing revenue, reducing the cost of operation, and there are several line items which will be able to do it. That will improve the gross operating profit. So I'm so thrilled. This is a historic moment in the Centriqe journey, and I'm looking forward to welcoming more and more people to work with us to solve this puzzle. With that, we'll take any question and comment. And thank you all for spending and allocating some time this morning.
Great.
Thank you, Alak.
Great.
Alak,
Thank
can I
you so.
speak?
Yes, I can hear you, Rajesh. Thank you. If you have any question, go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, I want to congratulate you and your team for this excellent 55 minutes presentation on latest topic of AI and how to integrate it with your businesses. So only one question which in your last summary you have answered, but still I would like to ask, by integrating this AI into this, whether the business will be able to increase the revenue or decrease the expenses or increase the profitability, or whether it will result in increase in customer delight. What is your take on this?
All three combined. So as Piyushji was mentioning, he is very, very focused on customer experience engagement and customer delight, and revenue will grow once we keep the customer delighted. So maximizing revenue model, which revolves around many aspects of it: customer sentiment, customer real-time feedback, customer real-time net promoter score, which helps us to understand the customer behavior and pattern, and also helps us to maximize customer lifetime value. So that's the maximizing revenue aspect of it. Proactive campaign, outbound campaign, which goes through customer classification and segmentation. That has been done very well in terms of customer modeling. Now we have done it, proven it, and delivered the value to some of the customers who are using it. Reducing the cost of operation, there are automation tools which has been brought in, which is reducing the cost, like bots, likes of interaction in real time, reducing people on the floor, and the service element can be centralized. So we are reducing the cost on many ways, which the customers have started realizing the benefits of optimizing the cost and eliminating the barriers of servicing the customer. With that, we are able to prove month on month how cost can be reduced and revenue can be maximized so that your gross operative profit goes up month on month. This is the model which is resulting into improving customer delight, as we were saying, because customer needs attention, real-time, online, on the fingertip. And if we enable through technology, customer is delighted and customer is ready to engage and do the transaction. And that's what any business owner wants. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you, Alak. And it will be great if you can share your presentations with us.
It will be available online, and the recording of this video would be available as well. Thank you, Rajesh. Any other question?
Alak, can I add on to your statement for Rajesh?
Yeah.
Yep. Mr. Rajesh, a pleasure to see you here. One of the things that is key to achieving the results that you're asking for is that you need to have the underlying data of any of those departments that you mentioned in order to get the results from AI, whether it's productivity, profitability. So you should grab all the data that you currently have in your company from every aspect of the business. You should store that data. You need that data. Without that, you cannot achieve, AI cannot achieve anything. Over to you, Alak.
Right, Nazir, I take your point. It is a very important point Mr. Nazir has made.
Yep. Any other question from the audience? We are on top of the hour, so
that's perfect.
Absolutely. So with wholehearted,
it's a pleasure being with you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
I extend thanks to Geoffrey Moore as our keynote speaker. I thank all our guest speakers today, and I look forward to working with the Eros Group, who are really keenly, looking at evaluating, and so many other prospects who are watching us as we grow. There are so many people in fact, I will request if Atik is still available. Atik, are you still available?
Yes, I am.
Oh, I'm so delighted. If you can chime in a little bit, because you have been mentoring, guiding me, and giving me a source of energy. Atik, can you comment as a board member of Centriqe and
yes,
as an investor as well? Yes.
Yes, thank you so much, Alak. So I concur with a lot of comments that have been made. Some of the critical comments that have been made about the actual demand for AI tools, like what is being presented by Centriqe, and their direct relevance to the retail business particularly. So as Mr. Rajesh Seth was saying, the requirements are to grow the business, to delight the customer, to reduce the expenses so as to run a profitable and a very successful business. Those are the areas where Centriqe has tools to enable those capabilities and those results. Mr. Nazir is right that data is needed, but from my understanding of Centriqe's capability, it also enables the data gathering, contextual data gathering on site and as needed, which combines with the rest of the tools that it has, which basically enable the reduction of expenses, the improvement of both sales as well as of profitability. So I'm very impressed with the presentation today and the engagement level and the relevance of these capabilities to the business which is at hand. So I welcome all of you to consider basically further evangelizing this product and helping to make it more widely accepted and engaged. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I think I really appreciate it. And last but not the least, I'm sure Jay Kulkarni, who is really empowering us with the data hub, AI hub in the Silicon Valley. Jay, are you available for a few minutes? Jay may have dropped. So Jay Kulkarni is the founder CEO of NetServe, and they are one of the leading Silicon Valley system integrators. The moment we shared and talked about it, they said that this is the way forward where we can really empower all our customers to come see and experience what AI can deliver. Because even today, having evangelized for so long, some of the senior management leaders shared that we don't understand how AI can deliver values. This was happened last week when we were talking to executive director of a large company, and we demonstrated, we understood their pain points, and we said that once we get the data, we can deliver the values. He commented, Alak, but all good, but I don't get it. How AI can help me improve my revenue and how it can help me reduce the cost. So this is where we need to go with use case, build the model, showcase to them and give them the feel that how AI can deliver and relate the dotted line for improving the revenue and reducing the cost. Then they will embrace it. So on that note, we are now expanding the footprint with our system integrators because they have infrastructure, they have resources, and now we can build everything at the doorstep of customers. Now, watch out for the space of that. We have some investors coming in that space where they are saying that we'll lend you the infrastructure. We'll lend our people and you showcase the solution which you have to grow to the customer's delight. With that note, I thank you so much for your time and attention. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.